Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Yes, it certainly is. It's Ask Rob and Rob. You ask us questions, we give you answers, and we do it all in under 10 minutes. Sounds like a very efficient machine that we have, but we do. And that's because you keep sending us wonderful questions, which makes it easy to record these episodes. Otherwise, it'd be a lot of chit-chat with not a lot of substance. So why do these wonderful people keep sending us questions? Well, of course, because we answer them, but also we make it very easy for you to do so. So if you've never asked a question on Ask Rob and Rob, maybe now's the time. Here's how you can do it.
Yep, don't be intimidated. There is no such thing as a silly question. We love all your questions and we make it really easy for you. Just call 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. It's as easy as a phone call. Call up, leave us a voicemail, and we will have an answer turned around for you before you know it. Alternatively, you can go to thepropertyhub.net/ask and record us a message that way instead. Does not matter. Just make sure you get it done so we can get an answer for you. So the clock is ticking. Let's crack on. We've got two answers to get through. The first one is for Kush.
Hello, Rob and Rob. I'm a new listener. My name's Kush. I hope you're well. Your podcasts are amazing. Just wanted to say that it's great to have such great knowledge for free. Now, I have a question. My friend and I live in London, and we just feel that even to buy a rundown property is very expensive, and we've got around 50 to 75k saved up, and we wanted to buy, refurb, flip a property in the north. And the question I have is this possible to do remotely? That's the main question. It's just to do with the finance. We don't have enough saved, I would say. I want to get into the property game as soon as possible. So I just wanted your insight, really. How do we kind of buy properties, get the builders, everything to do with the buy-flip process remotely? I would love to know. Thank you.
Okay, Kush, thank you for your kind words. Thank you for listening, and thank you for a great question. So let's start on the finance point first. So you can't afford to do it in London. Makes sense. Not a lot of people can. You seem to be concerned about whether you can afford to do it in the north. And with that budget, 50 to 75k, unless you're looking for extremely cheap property, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to do it purely in cash. You might be able to, but you might find that it's better to bring bridging finance into play, because then you'll be able to get a higher value property. And the thing about flips is that roughly the same amount of work is involved, whether you're doing a very, very cheap 2-bed house or a nicer 3-bed house. It's roughly the same amount of work, but your return is going to be higher. So if you can leverage that cash a little bit by using bridging, it's likely to be more worth your while. Although, of course, that has costs associated with it, and you need to factor those into your figures as well. Look around for different bridging deals. Each company will allow you to borrow different amounts. Some will also lend you funds for the works, others won't. There are lots of different ways of structuring it. There's a lot to know, but it's worth delving into because it will give you a bit more buying power potentially. Then again, if you do feel more confident doing your first one in cash and sticking down at the cheaper end of the market, that's fine too. Because you are going to have a lot to think about on your first one, especially being remote.
That's right. Although the cheaper end properties, just make sure that there is an exit there available for you and the market is active enough for you to make that all-important flip. Now, doing it remotely makes it more challenging because, first of all, you need to find the opportunity, which is, again, a little bit harder to do remotely. So sourcing these type of investments, you're going to have to build your network. You're going to have to get to know estate agents, letting agents, possibly make a couple of trips up to your chosen location, maybe get to networking groups and start to build a network. And through those people and those networking groups, you will hopefully find good contractors as well to do the work for you. So it's a double whammy win. Hopefully you'll find the opportunity, and don't expect it to come overnight, but hopefully you'll find the opportunity that works, and also you'll start to build the network to make this mission possible. Now, while the work's going on, even with the best recommendations, you want to be keeping in the loop with what's happening. So come to some agreement that the developer, the builder, whoever is doing the work, sends you WhatsApp pictures, however you want to do it, but send you pictures via a smartphone at least every week. Some people would prefer daily, just to show the work that they've done and what they've achieved that day, because you are remote. And I would advise, especially on your first one, until you've got more confidence with the people you're working with, to try and make some visits up there as well. There's a lot of variables going on when you do this tactic. Investing in a buy-to-let remotely needs some work, but doing a flip remotely, well, that needs a lot of work. So as long as you're prepared to put the work in and you're not work shy, then it's certainly possible. But don't cut corners. Do the things we've talked about. And of course, there's many more as well. We could probably extend this to a longer podcast. But start with the basics that we've given you and go from there.
All right, there you go, Kush. I hope that's helpful for you. Thank you for your question. Let's get moving on to our next question, which comes from Fez.
Hi, Rob and Rob. It's Fez here from London. First of all, thank you for the amazing podcast. I started listening about 5 months ago. I still haven't bought my first buy-to-let property, but I'm looking to do that soon. Basically, I've got a question about buying a property using a particular type of mortgage. Due to my personal beliefs, I don't take or give interest, so having an ordinary mortgage is a little bit difficult, and I don't have enough capital to buy something outright. Recently, you had done a podcast on 10-year fixed rate buy-to-let, and I was just wondering whether these mortgages would allow you to have the mortgage term for only 10 years, or whether they expect you to have a longer mortgage term. And also, if the repayments, because it's only 10 years, if the repayments are more than what you'd get in rent, if you earn enough money, would they allow you to get a mortgage like that if you can top it up from your own income? Thanks very much. Bye.
Thanks, Fez. Great question. It's one of those questions that probably a lot of people are thinking, but nobody's answering. Well, now we will, and we can. So the answer is, the choice is yours. A 10-year fix doesn't mean it's necessarily fixed for 10 years. Often, it will be on a 25-year product. And you will fix the first 10 years at a certain rate. And then after the 10 years, you will then go on to the standard variable rate. And then at that point, you may remortgage into a different product. Now, if you wanted to, you could say, I want the term to be over 10 years, and it's fixed for 10 years. But obviously, the payments would be a lot higher if you did that. But if you're comfortable with those payment levels, then feel free. You don't have to take a 25-year fix. You can change the term as you please. There's no real short limit to the length you make it. So that covers that, Rob. But then it's just a question about topping the payments up if rent doesn't cover it.
Yeah, so you asked if you did go for a shorter term, and therefore the payments would be higher, potentially more than you'd get in rent, would they let you top it up from your income? So say that your mortgage payment is £750, the rent is only £600, would they let you chip in the rest from your own income? Now, you mentioned Islamic mortgages. I'm not familiar with those products in detail, but I believe that it will be the same as a regular buy-to-let in that the property must be self-financing. In other words, the rent has got to more than cover the mortgage payment by a certain margin. And that kind of makes sense. From a lender's point of view, they want to know that even if you lose your job, the rent is still going to be enough to cover the mortgage. And if they have to repossess the property, they don't have to chip in any of their own funds. So you can see why they do it. So that is the flip side of the shorter term. You might want a shorter term to get it paid off, but if the payments end up being too high, that's not going to be an option. So you have to find a happy medium.
So thank you, Kush. Thank you, Fez. Thank you for your questions. Thank you to everybody who keeps sharing and reviewing the podcast. Get the word out. If you don't tell people about it, then at least leave a review. But let more people know, because if nothing else, it keeps Rob and I very happy. But also, you're helping people by sharing. So that's us for another week. We'll be back on Thursday with the Property Podcast. And of course, next Tuesday with Ask Rob and Rob. So until those wonderful events occur, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.